Just keep going. You have no choice but to just keep going. My worst nightmare had just come true. I could feel everyone just frozen in the audience, probably wondering if I would be able to go on. It was terrifying. I had just made a painfully obvious mistake and had to restart the very first piece on my recital program. And this was not just any recital. This was my senior recital in college that was a requirement for me to graduate. I had prepared extensively in the months leading up to this event, yet I was a nervous wreck in the days leading up to it. I just didn't trust that I was ready, and I didn't trust that my mind and my body were going to cooperate. After that super rough start, I was somehow able to pull myself together and make it through the remainder of that hour-long recital of memorized music. I mean, it is truly a miracle that I made it through. And walking off that stage, I was greeted with so much love and hugs from my family members and friends and harp teachers, some of which who had traveled from across the country to come celebrate with me on this day. So I smiled and I did my best to accept their love and encouragement, but I'm not gonna lie, like the feeling of just disappointment and shame was just weighing so heavily on my heart and my mind. I mean, I honestly felt like I had failed, and that painful memory just kind of would pop in my head and replay so many times. I mean, it really haunted me for a long time. But although I felt that performance did not reflect my true ability to play those pieces, that performance was not the end of my story. And I ended up learning 3 really important lessons that changed my entire perspective. The first lesson I learned is that playing the harp is something that I do, but it is not who I am. I mean, even after one of my very worst fears came true, the love that my friends and my family had for me remained unchanged. I went on to graduate from college, continue to make memories with friends, move out of the state to go to graduate school where I had many more performances ahead of me. I went on to get married. I mean, life just went on. And I realized that my loved ones were not hinging my worth on that single hour of performance, so why should I? The second lesson that I learned is that it simply was not as big of a deal as I thought. Looking back, I realized that I am the only one in that recital hall who is still replaying that moment over and over again in my head. I want you to think back on performances that you've attended over the years. How often do you even notice, yet alone think back on any mistakes made by those who are on stage? If I do happen to notice that someone made a mistake on stage, I still enjoy the performance. And if anything, I almost admire them more because I realize that they're human just like me. It actually makes the performance feel more real. And the reality is that people are generally far more forgiving than we think. The third lesson I learned is that redefining what makes a performance successful is crucial. Honestly, in that recital I gave, I was not expecting my performance to be perfect. I know that I'm only human and it was inevitable that there were going to be some wrong notes. But once I made that super obvious mistake, deep down, I really did feel like I had failed. But as I look back now, I can appreciate that what made that performance a success is that I walked across that stage, I sat down and started playing my harp, even though my nerves felt crushing. And I kept going despite a hiccup that could have derailed my entire performance and made me want to run off the stage and just hide. I somehow kept going, and I can honestly say that I am so proud of myself for showing up and pushing through. And as the years have gone by, once I shifted my focus away from perfection, I found this new joy in playing for others. Performing actually feels a lot less scary now that that pressure to be perfect has been lifted. I started to really embrace the vulnerability that comes with performing, and I view it as a beautiful part of the journey and as a way to really connect with other people. Click here to join our free workshop to help you overcome common challenges so that you can find freedom in your own journey of performing. You're not alone and there is a path forward.